Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out on a lovely Friday to enjoy some awesome music from these amazing students who have been here with us for 5 days at Mid-Valley Band Camp. I think this is year 12 for us at Mid-Valley Band Camp. Andy Nelson and I started this camp really with the idea of just giving some local summer experience for students from our own schools. This morning I decided to sort the database of 170 students that are here. We actually have representatives from 13 middle schools and 8 high schools now at our camp, which is fantastic, truly Mid-Valley. Just super excited to have an amazing staff, both high school volunteers, high school level volunteers from here at West Albany, and then some of our own alumni have come back, and just incredible teachers from across the state of Oregon come out to work with our students and give them a really rich, very full musical experience for this week. Throughout the course of the week, they had a master class, which is taught by somebody who is a specialist on their instrument for about 90 minutes every morning, giving them kind of the inside scoop. I kind of made the joke with the students earlier that we try to do at band camp what every band director would love to do every single day in their band program, if only funds were unlimited, which is they get specialized teaching on every single instrument. There's an oboe instructor, there's a bassoon instructor, there's a bass, every single instrument gets some very specific kinds of instruction. They have 3 blocks of regular rehearsal in a large ensemble, and then many of you heard the jazz ensemble coming in, and we have a jazz faculty that comes in and works with them. So it's just a really rich experience for them, and you're gonna get to hear the product of that. Really kind of 4.2 days worth of work. And they kind of get about maybe 6 weeks of band time. If it was like a regular course of band, in these 4.5 days, we can do what you usually do in about 6 weeks of regular band. So we're just really excited that they have just grown so much. And I have to tell you, they have been fantastic. Like, they have just been great humans all week. Super, super respectful, super, super nice to each other, really responsive to the instructors. So you shared awesome students with us, and we are really appreciative of that. Our first ensemble of the day is one of our 3 jazz bands, full-size jazz bands, and this is under the direction of Mr. Randy Solansky from Memorial Middle School.
Thank you. This is our Jazz 2-2 group, spelled 2, number 2, T-O-O, because we have 2 Jazz 2 groups. And most of these students have never done jazz before. This is their very first jazz experience, and this is what this camp is all about for me, is giving these kids this experience, because it's awesome. And so we are going to play 2 tunes for you, and our first tune is a John Coltrane piece titled Blue Train. And we're going to feature 5 individuals, where most of them, this is their very first time doing what is called jazz improvisation. And so here is Blue Train. Oh, and it is completely appropriate to applaud each of the soloists when they're done, and highly encouraged. Thank you. Give a hand for Ollie on the trombone, Liam on the trumpet, Stella on trombone, Derry on trumpet, and Alex on trumpet. Those were our soloists for that tune. Our next piece is one of my favorite pieces to start jazz bands with. Partly because they love it and they're enthusiastic about it. This piece is titled Jammin' with Charlie. It takes us from the swing style we were in to a jazz rock. And they like it so much that 8 of them wanted to solo. And I want to talk about why that is incredible. If you don't know what improvisation soloing is, they're making up a melody on the spot. They're not looking at music at this point. They're just creating, being creative in the moment and saying what they want to say. And that takes a lot of bravery, and it's kind of scary. Right? It's like going up and doing a speech in front of the class, but you don't really know what you're giving the speech on. And so we have 8 of these students, so 5 on the last tune, that have decided to take on this challenge and to solo for you and say something on their instruments, which is really, really cool, and it's a lot of fun for me to see the excitement with that. And so we're going to hear on this piece from Seth on the alto saxophone. We're going to hear from Derry again on trumpet, Haley on the flute, Avery on trombone, Liam on trumpet again, Stella on trombone again, Alex on trumpet again, and then we're going to finish it off with a solo on the congas from Randall. So this is Jammin' with Charlie.
All right, next up is our Jazz Band 2 under the direction of Mr. Danny Mitchell. As he finishes off the rhythm section help, you probably noticed that if you've been in here before, usually there's not bamboo and netting around the arch. For those of you who are connoisseurs of musical theater, next weekend and the following weekend, Mid-Valley Musical Theater is doing Tarzan in this space. It's the first time that we're ever going to do actual aerial acrobatics in this hall. So it's going to be a fantastic show. Live pit. It's going to be a great time. So you can get those tickets at Ludus, our Ludus outlet for the Albany Performing Arts Center. But a couple of you had looked at that bamboo and wondered what was going on. I thought I'd let you know. All right, Jazz Band 2, Mr. Danny Mitchell.
Thank you very much. That first one was Charlie Parker's My Little Suede Shoes. Nice mix between like a bossa nova Latin groove and a swing groove. So we hope you enjoyed that one. We wanted to do this next tune for you in honor of one of the great late rock legends, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. So you're going to hear some Iron Man from Black Sabbath when he was singing on lead vocals at Black Sabbath. So here's Iron Man. We're going to hear about 4 solos from this. You're going to hear from Micah on the trumpet, Peter on the trumpet. You're also going to hear from Logan on the trombone, not in this order, and Liam on the alto saxophone. Here goes Iron Man.
All right, give us just a moment. We're going to have Jazz Combos and Jazz Band number 1 up for you on stage.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased to introduce this band. They were named using my patented jazz band name generator, and they are the Bebop Ambassadors, playing Cantaloupe Island. All right, our next combo, also named using my one-of-a-kind patented jazz band name generator, the Bluesy Outlaws, playing Strasbourg, Saint Denis.
And just a quick set change for jazz band number 1 coming out.
All right, this is the Jazz 1. We almost have enough players in here to create like 3 big bands, all just using these students, or at least give you like a wraparound experience, surround sound with the saxophones. Had a ton of fun working with them at 8 in the morning for the last 4 days, and really excited to play a 3-piece set for you. We're gonna open it up with 1 o'clock Jump, really awesome blues chart. Enjoy.
Olive on the piano, Nathaniel on the tenor sax, Ben Jammin on the trombone, Ronan on the alto sax, James on the clarinet, Arthur on the bass, and of course, Owen on the drums.
Run on an alto. Mac on trumpet.
And now, our last tune of the set, Poco Loco. This is going to feature Tiffany on the alto sax, Jack on the trombone, Jace on the alto sax, and of course, Evelyn on piano, Ellie on the cowbell, and Jeremiah on the drums. Poco Loco.
Mr. Nathaniel Anthony, Mr. Brian McFadden. All right, we're gonna have just a short intermission here. If you want to stand and stretch, that's great. We're gonna make this whole jazz band setup go away and make it into an enormous concert band setup for a concert band, and then make it even bigger for symphonic band. Give us just a few minutes.
All right. We are ready to get back going with our concert. This is our concert band. We divide almost the entire population of our students. Jazz track goes upstairs. That's about 18 to 20 kids. So of that 170, we take the rest of them and make them into two concert bands. This is our younger concert band, and it has been directed for the last couple of years by two amazing conductors in our state who work incredible magic with their middle schools, and so we bring them in here every year. This is Miss Jenna Gagne and Miss Sarah Massey. So let's bring our conductors out and have concert band.
Thank you. So that was Majestica, and we just want to say real quick that it has been absolutely fabulous working with your kids. They have been so polite and so kind, and we always love coming to Albany and being here because we know it's going to be an amazing experience because of the exceptional music education that's happening here, and then because there's so many great families. So thank you for sending your kid to band camp and for raising good humans. To keep this concert program going, our next piece is Jurassic Park. Enjoy.
Before I start my next piece, I just wanted to say a couple of thank yous. Thank you, of course, to Stuart Welsh and Andy Nelson for inviting me back again. I've been doing this camp for a couple of years now, and I very much so enjoy working and learning from Mrs. Gagne over there. And your students as well were fabulous this week. It's always amazing to me how much we can accomplish in 5 days. You should have heard us Monday morning. I mean, there were some sounds happening, but not nearly as lovely as that was. And it truly could not be done without all of the hard work and help from our coaches, our section coaches, and thank you so much to our high schoolers that sat in every rehearsal, made sure the kids were doing everything they needed to be doing and asking questions and getting help. It's been a great week, and I just wanted to give a quick round of applause and appreciation for all of the extra help we've gotten this week. This next piece will be Superhero. Now it's good. All right. And now for our final piece, this is called Tango Argentina. Superhero and this one were actually the most challenging pieces we brought, and your students chose to do the challenging ones, and it's been really fun working on them and stretching their abilities, and they've really risen to the occasion. This one features 2 soloists. We have Nate on trumpet and Maddie on clarinet, and please hold your applause to the end. It's not like jazz. Thank you.
Congratulations to all of our concert band students. How about one more round of applause? Just going to add a few chairs to some rows for our symphonic band. This is our last transition. Last band will be up here in just a moment.
All right, for our symphonic band, as you can tell, it's a very large band. We're just short of 90 students in this ensemble, which is kind of like 2 wind ensembles combined, if you think about it that way. For those of you who are paying attention to how many numbers are usually on the stage, this is big. We're super excited for this group. They've been working really, really hard all week. And we have 2 amazing conductors for you. First, Sarah Perkins from Corvallis at Crescent Valley High School, and then actually one of our OMEA royalty, one of our executive board members. She's our advocacy chair. She taught up in Portland area for a while and was kind of an advocate for music education in the Portland area for a long, long time. Still works for OMEA, and that is Ms. Laura Arthur, our freelance band director over here. So those are our conductors. Please welcome on stage and our 2025 Symphonic Band.
Hi, everyone. Like you said, my name is Laura Arthur. I am a band director from the Portland area, and I get to do all sorts of cool OMEA stuff, like you said. And we are very excited to present our first piece to you. It's entitled Prairie Songs, and it's got 2 sections. The first one is about a woman who has a lumberjack boyfriend, and he dies on the river, and it's about how she also dies of a broken heart. It's very sad. And then we change gears and we talk about turkeys. This next one is a folk song from Upper Wisconsin, Upper Midwest about turkeys. So we hope you enjoy this lovely, lovely arrangement of these 2 traditional Upper Midwestern folk songs, Prairie Songs.
Hello, I am Sarah Perkins. I teach band in Corvallis at Crescent Valley High School. Our next piece is the music from Loki. We're going to be playing the TVA theme and Loki's green theme. Enjoy.
All right, we got two more pieces for you. I want to echo all the things that Ms. Massey and Ms. Gagne said in our concert band directors and just add a couple of my own. So again, thank you to Stuart and Andy for the invite. Thank you to the entire staff here at West Albany High School for being such wonderful hosts and allowing us to use this amazing space. Again, thank you to our incredible sectional coaches and high school student helpers. What a gift that your kids got to spend time with these amazing people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Would you just wave, please, so we can see you? Wave better. I'd like to thank my awesome teaching partner, Ms. Perkins, who was inspiring with all the amazing, I just like, yep, I'm stealing that, yep, I'm stealing that. So what a gift to get to teach with somebody so amazing. And finally, I want to thank these incredible students behind me who pulled all this together in 13 rehearsals. 4 days, 4 days. So amazing, so thank you. And students, band camp doesn't happen without these people. So can you give it up for your people in the audience, please? My final portion of this concert is a piece that tells a definite story. It is called Through Darkened Sleepy Hollow. Who knows the legend of Sleepy Hollow? The headless horseman haunts the sleepy Massachusetts town, looking for their head. You're gonna hear some very cool percussion stuff here in the back. You're gonna hear some trombones in the graveyard, making ghostly sounds. You're gonna hear the horse through the town. It's very, very cool. Anyway, thanks again for being here. Thanks again for supporting your students, supporting music education. We couldn't do this without you, so thanks again. Here is Through Darkened Sleepy Hollow.
right, before we play our last piece of the evening, I would also like to say some thank yous. First, parents, thank you. Thank you so much for sending your kid to this camp. It has been such a pleasure to work with them this past week. They're really awesome kiddos. They're hard workers. It has been an absolute joy. Thank you, Stuart and Andy, for inviting me to this camp year after year. This is my 4th year doing this camp, and I absolutely love it. It's a lot of fun. Thank you, section coaches and student helpers. You have done a ton this week, and we wouldn't be where we are without you. So thank you to everyone. Our last piece of the afternoon is going to be Saturn, the Ringed Planet, and we do have a flute solo played by Sarah Jameson. Enjoy.
Thank you all so very much for sharing your kids this week. As you heard from everybody, they were fantastic. Students, you need to make sure that you grab all of your things from all of the places. If you've still got things upstairs in the jazz area, make sure you grab those, because you won't be coming back here at least for the next month, and I won't be here either to let you in. So make sure you grab all your belongings on your way back out again. Parents, if you can wait out in the lobby so we don't end up with a traffic jam over here with instruments and cases, that would be fantastic. Have a great rest of your summer. Thank you so much.